Hello! Welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Jasper Bruce Wright.
I'm Harry King.
And I'm Rob Wilson. And this is a massive Kia!
And today we're going to find out if you should buy one. Okay, Rob, so talk me through the front of the EV9.
Well, I want to talk flaps, because there are some down here at the front.
Active flaps.
Active flaps, which open and close for aerodynamic cooling reasons.
You'll see them just below the smug plate.
Yes, it's an excellent number plate.
It is, it's fab.
Yes. Also, much like my Stinger, this still has the Tiger Nose not grille.
Yeah, it's a styling element.
Yes, so this bit...
Well, it's kind of here.
Yeah.
So you see it's big, and then you've got this grey moustache area.
Yeah.
And then your other tiger nostril.
Yes. It's not a light bar.
It's not a light bar, but it's a tiger-nosed front styling element.
Yes, but it does have very fancy lights.
It does have very fancy lights. It's got a very fancy something else, Rob.
Go on, do it. Oh, open that bad boy up.
No latch to do.
No, it's got an frunk.
The whole front of this car is matte. We're standing so far apart.
Yes.
But yes, it's got a frunk. It's a very similar style to the frunks you've seen in every other electric Kia, but this one, being such a large car, has enough space for all of the charging cables.
Yeah.
Which is very useful. Very useful. And there's actually still space for... You'd fit a rucksack in there.
You could. Anyway, let's go and look at the side. See what's going on there.
Okay, we're going to do the side, Jasper, but first, to get the car in the right place for filming, we're going to need to move it forwards. But fortunately, I don't need to get into the car to do that. Come on. Come on. There we go.
Excellent.
Seamless.
Yeah.
Flawless.
And that feature might actually come in quite handy because I don't know if you can tell, this car is massive.
It's very big. So obviously the usefulness of that feature is you can line a car up with a parking space or get out of it and then roll it back into the space, and you don't have to worry about opening the doors or anything because it is quite wide. But more importantly, Jasper, it's quite long.
Yes, so when we say roll it into a parking space, this will actually overhang a standard UK parking space because most of them are about 4.5 metres long. This car is 5.015 metres long.
Just a smidge over 5 metres long.
It's a very, very long boy. It's, you know, you could get some exercise in walking all the way around this thing, basically.
But isn't it lovely?
It is, and the side styling is actually really good. I love the black plastic around the wheel arches. I like the fact that the doors drop all the way down because it saves you getting muddy when you're getting in and out. Big fan of the roof bars.
I like this about the roof bars. Most roof bars, you have a start and an end and then the middle bit. Yeah. This one has a central support because it's so long.
Yes.
But yeah, lots of black styling for the
you've
GT
got
line.
A nice division between the roof, the bodywork, and then the glass house as well. Love the mirrors. They're a really nice shape, black plastic caps on them. And pop-out door handles, don't you?
And don't forget, Jasper, the humongous wheels.
21 inches, and actually I really like the alloy design, but as well the thing that is amazing, they're 21-inch wheels.
A look at the
sidewall.
They
don't look like 21-inch wheels,
look at the sidewall on them. When was the last time you saw a 21-inch wheel with that much sidewall?
Usually it's about 3 sheets of A4 paper wrapped around it.
Thin veneer of paint.
This is excellent. I also love this swoop.
Oh, the Hofmeister kink
towards
I knew that would make him cross.
It's not a BMW. The swoop up towards the very pinch point on your overhanging spoiler. Chef's kiss.
If you want to talk more about the spoiler, why don't you do it from the back of the car?
Let's do that.
So, at the back, it's very much a continuation of the front and side styling with your very angular lights.
Yep.
They're
really nice designs.
Little bit Volvo, but
yeah, a little bit.
I do like them. We've got the badge denoting the spec, the GT line, and
EV9.
EV9 there.
Obviously the Kia script.
Yeah, KN to dyslexic people. And
really nice gloss black plastic bumper with a bit of, it's not really splitter, but there's a bit of different coloured styling at the
Diffuse of
bottom.
stuff going on, yes.
Yep.
But another thing to mention, towing.
Yes, you can tow up to 2.5 tonnes braked with this car.
Yeah, which is very impressive.
That is quite impressive, yes.
It'll probably ruin the range, but it's impressive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You've got a nice spoiler, and actually you can notice from the side, this kind of droops down a little bit, which will be in the name of aerodynamics.
Yes, and there is a nice little badge here to remind you of your 7-year Kia warranty. Which
so you can be very smug.
Very smug. Anyway, shall we open up the boot?
Yes.
Have you got the key?
No.
There we go.
Oh, the key is in the vehicle. I suspect, though, that this will have Kia's option where if you approach the back of the car with the key in hand, the boot will automatically open, because the Proceed I had recently does that.
Harry.
Yes.
Tell us about the space back there.
Well, the space back here. This is a 3-row vehicle, so I'm currently enjoying the boot with the rearmost seats folded down. We don't have a specific figure for that right now, but what I can tell you is I fit comfortably.
Yes.
With the rear seats folded up, which we can do at the push of a button.
Electrically.
Yes.
We then have over 300 litres in this space here with all the seats in place.
Yes, which is more than a Mini.
It is more than a Mini, yes.
Behind 3 rows of seats.
It's an impressive boot figure for a 7-seat SUV with all 7 of its seats folded up.
Yes, and there's loads of practical features back here as well.
Yes.
So you've got a 12 volt, you've got an actual plug here, because this car has
Vehicle to load.
Yeah, and all of that lovely stuff that the Hyundai Kia group have.
You can lower all of your rear seats from the press of a button.
Yep.
Both of the second and third rows, which is nice.
The second row doesn't raise itself, though.
No, it doesn't.
The third row does, from the boot, which is very handy.
Yeah.
You also have, with all seats folded down, you have over 2,000 litres of storage space.
That's a van.
Which is van-like.
Yeah.
And yes, multiple tie-down hooks and various things. You also have little holders for the seat belts, so they stay out of the way if you have the seats folded down, which is nice.
Very good.
I also noticed there's no parcel shelf present, and that's because, unlike most cars, it fits neatly under the boot floor.
Ta-da! So yes, you have to take a bit of extra plastic out of the boot to do this, but then you get this under the floor. And look at that.
Proper
metal
parcel shelf. Roll top cover. We like that.
I'll be here doing weights. Do you want to go and sit in the back of seats and you can see if they're big enough for you or full-size adults?
So, getting into the rear row of the EV9 is actually surprisingly easy, because you get a single button push to move the second row seat out of the way. You've got one down here, or you've got one on the backrest of the seat, which is really for the passengers in that third row. So if I push that, folds and slides out of the way. Excellent. I've now got, you'll notice, a rather large amount of space, because both this door opens a long way and that seat moves forwards a long way. So I can just clamber in quite gracefully, and then if I slide over to behind this seat, I don't have a tremendous amount of legroom with this seat in this position. However, I can adjust where this seat sits, because this row is currently in its backmost position. So, with a pull of this bar, that row can slide further forwards, leaving me more than enough knee room to sit back here, and this row will actually go even further forwards, meaning that both passengers in this row and the second row have sufficient knee room for comfort on a longer journey. For the third row of an SUV as well, it's surprisingly good back here. I've got 2 cup holders on either side. I've got the ability to recline my backrest, which is very nice. And I've got a USB Type-C charging port on both sides. So, for a third row, with climate control in the ceiling and lighting, I'm pretty comfy back here. Shall we see if the second row offers you a little bit more?
Hello, you are now in the middle row of the Kia EV9, and look at the amount of space that I have. I can sit in here quite comfortably. There's enough room to do that. This car is enormous. Anyway, I'll sit on the actual seats, since that's what they're for. It's a big, wide car. You do have a middle seat. It is slightly raised, but it does come with its own proper seat belt that's attached to the seat, not at the ceiling. Speaking of the ceiling, look up here, we've got climate controls, so I can change the temperature, fan speed, all the usual stuff that you could do in the front, but in the middle here, and you've got your own air vents that come through the ceiling. And then climate control continuing, I've got on this door 3-stage heated and 3-stage cooled outer seats, which I can press these buttons for. That's a very premium feature to see in a car. Practicality wise, we've got big old door bins down here. We've got 2 cup holders at the back of this centre console. There's some more storage down here behind this little leather strap. You've got business class style seat back trays, pockets, whatever you want to call them, for putting your stuff in. There's some USB-Cs on the back of the front seats so that you can plug your devices in. And of course, goes without saying, you've got your ISOFIX on your seats here as well. Also on the middle seat, you do have an armrest, and because this is a premium vehicle, it's got little stoppers so you can position where you want it to go. I've never seen that in the back of a car. Usually it just sits and you have to deal with where it is. More cup holders here, so just so much space, but there's no through loading because, I mean, you just don't need that in a 28 metre long car like this. Then you've got grab handles. Look at the size of these for climbing in and out because, as I say, this is quite a large vehicle, so you might need a help up. Also, if you are taking your EV9 green laning, there's something to hold on to if you don't want to hold on to these. They're a bit more chunky. The seats are very multifunctional. We can go like this. Look how far forward that is, and I've still got leg room if I do that. I can push them back. They do upright, that, it's everything. It's very comfortable. But the main takeaway from this, for me, is I fit so well. This car was made for me. I've never had this much room in the back of a car before. I'm 6'2". Normally my knees are like hitting into something. This is just lovely. Let's see what the front's like.
And finally, to the main event, the front seats of the EV9. Now, I don't have any climate controls on the ceiling here because I have them here and in the screen, unfortunately. But there are a fair number of buttons that I can access physically. So I've got my temperature and fan controls outside of the screen, which are the things you adjust most. So I'll take that over nothing, but I would prefer it if I had everything. I want it all. Yeah. Going to the map, let's see how responsive this is. Of course, this is going to completely reveal the fact that I'm not very good at using sat-nav systems. Searching and working it out. Okay, that is actually really fast. And interestingly, it tells me that my battery range I'll need to charge. That's quite handy. Now, other tech on the interior, obviously you've got a fairly normal Kia system in this screen, but it's 2 displays. Well, actually, it's 3. Looking at it, this little climate section is its own screen. Then you've got infotainment and driver's display, and obviously I've got all of the controls on the steering wheel that you'd normally find in a top-end Kia. So I've got all the self-driving stuff on this side and all the radio and infotainment control stuff on this side. Plus, I have my drive modes and terrain modes, for this is a 4x4, here on the steering wheel. I also have all of my heated and cooled seats and steering wheel and everything on the doors, and same for the passenger on that side, which leaves you with this very clean-looking centre console area where you've got your auto hold, your hill descent control, and your parking sensors and cameras. And then you've got this kind of roll top area with cup holders in, and they do the little spin deployment that we like so much in Kias. Look at that. Oh, lovely. Behind that, there's a wireless Qi charger. You've got this little jobby here. That's a fingerprint sensor, so you can drive this car from your fingerprints rather than from the keys. Though, of course, if you live in an area with car theft is high, someone might chop your finger off to steal it. You have a small storage area here, just in front of the rear seats cup holders. And you have a humongous glove box, just colossal, velvet lined, lovely. You also have massive door pockets with a cutout for a bottle holder, and you have this humongous storage area down here, and also kind of still an open area around the centre console. You've got charging stuff down here, USB-Cs, a 12-volt thing as well, with quite a slick deployment, if I say so myself. I do want to show you the electric seats because they're quite special. So for a start, I've got this. I don't know if you can see this coming out now, but I've got like a little calf support. So that allows for some extra comfort. But also, the way these seats tilt isn't quite like, well, it's not like most cars. So the whole seat just tilts all back together. Sort of like a Stannah stair lift. And then you can go to full relax mode. Stay with me, Jasper. Stay with me. Oh. And this is ideal if you say have to charge the car up at 100 watt charger. Obviously that won't be quite so fast, though this does sit on 800 volt architecture, so it can charge as fast as is really possible at the moment. Basically, what I'm saying is, this has everything. All of the luxury has been it's been covered in it. There is nothing more that I could possibly want for. This has all the toys and is excellent. So shall we find out if it's excellent to drive? So Jasper, we've driven 10 metres.
Well,
what do you appreciate most?
We have driven it a little bit, and of the three of us, I'm the one who's probably used to driving a car of this size because I had a Range Rover. But this is a lot quieter than said Range Rover, and I think because, well, it weighs a lot, but it's not on air suspension, it feels a little bit less wallowy. It feels a little bit more dynamic than an L322. Shock, I know.
Well, also the weight distribution is much lower.
Yes, because you've got a battery that weighs just over half a tonne right at the bottom of the car, essentially. So a good chunk of your whole vehicle weight sits really low, which is good. The suspension at the front is a McPherson multi-link setup, and at the back you've got a five-link multi-link setup. So it's sprung pretty well, I'd say. Certainly some sophisticated geometry, and I think that kind of reflects in the driving experience, because I don't think you wouldn't guess it weighed 2.7 tonnes. It does not feel like it weighs 2.7 tonnes, no, absolutely. The steering doesn't really have much feeling behind it. Most electric cars don't. You know, I'm okay with that. There's a good amount of resistance behind the steering, actually. So it's not completely devoid of any feeling, you just don't get a tremendous amount of feedback from it. It rides really nicely. It's so comfortable. It is very comfortable. I mean, the seats help with that. These are such comfortable seats. And how is it in the back, on the move, Rob? Very comfortable. Even this middle seat, although it's narrower and a bit harder than the outer seats, still perfectly comfortable. And unlike in most cars, I've still got headroom if I sit in it, because it's even in the middle. Yes, look, I've got loads, not just a bit. I've got loads. And on a faster road as well, it's beautifully smooth. So we've taken it on some pretty naff tarmacked country roads, which it handled really well, and also higher speed, slightly better paved road, no problem. It's just incredibly soft, smooth, but not wallowy. No, not at all. Which is surprising. I'm not worried about car sickness. Well, Jasper, shall we swap over? We shall. And see what. Shall I turn left here into Lower Dentford? Yes. Well, this is lovely. I like this a lot, actually. Well, I've got a command position over the road. Yep. And I can see down on the bonnet, which is quite Land Rover-y, isn't it? Yeah, it's because it's quite square. You've got those reference points. Even though it's quite a large vehicle, now I'm up here in the front, I'm not intimidated by it. Weirdly, yeah, it feels a lot like a Land Rover product, I would say. Crucially,
This Land Rover product comes with a 7-year warranty.
It does. It does do that. Yes, so, as well as coming with a 7-year warranty, it comes with lots of technology.
Some of which is beeping.
Yes. So we're on a 30-mile-an-hour road. So that's just informed me that I drifted slightly over the speed limit.
You maniac.
Crazy while going around a cyclist. But it's got everything else. It's got self-driving tech. That's not going to work on this road, but it will drive in the lane for you. It's got radar cruise control. It's also got a range of driving modes. So the Sport in your 2.7-ton SUV. And that also not only sharpens up throttle response and steering feel and weight, but it also makes the seat hug me.
Does it? Oh, it does that in my Stinger.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that that's been carried into the EVs.
So when I'm putting down my hot lap, I'm not moving around too much.
Good, that's good to know.
So we shall be taking this to the Nürburgring.
We like inflatable side bolsters, don't we?
We do like inflatable side bolsters. There is also My Drive, where you can just pick your favourites out of everything.
What would be called individual in any other car.
Yes. Eco.
Yep.
And then normal.
Right.
Instead of comfort, there's normal.
Normal.
But it's a 4x4, even though, I mean, it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So it's also got snow, mud, and sand modes, as well as hill descent control.
Yeah.
So, in theory, there's a modicum of off-road ability, though the ground clearance actually isn't that great.
No.
Definitely road-oriented tyres on this.
Yes. Well, eco road-oriented
yes,
tyres.
Continentals.
Yes.
Premium contacts. But, yeah, there's definitely an attempt to make it off-road able. I don't know how much that would translate to the real world, and I'm not brave enough to take this onto an off-road course.
No. But then again, when you think of the other electric SUVs in this price bracket, you don't think off-road, do you?
There aren't really any off-roading EVs.
BMW iX?
Oh, God,
That's
no.
not going to be any good off-road.
There's the Monroe.
Yeah.
There's the new Ineos, which is significantly smaller.
Yeah. And also not going to be
and there's the Rivian.
Yeah, in America, we've got to account for those, I guess.
So you have got currently, Harry, a range remaining of 256 miles.
Yes, at 90% of charge. So someone, I'm sure, will write in and tell me that this can only drive 6 miles in the winter.
Well, I think that equates to around 280 miles for 100% charge.
Yes.
Doing quick maths. And this is rated at 313 miles
on a combined WLTP cycle. Now, obviously, today is a little bit chilly.
It's 7 degrees currently.
Yes,
and also we have not driven this with economy in mind.
No.
What Kia do say is if you're doing only city driving, you could actually get somewhere in the region of 400 miles from this. Because obviously with city driving, you've got a lot more option for recuperation, your speed is lower, an EV does perform better in a city. Now, whether you'd want to navigate a city in something that's quite this large...
I don't know, somewhere like LA or New York. But yeah, it feels quite tight in this English countryside village. Anyway, I've explained the drive modes to you now, so... Rob, would you like to have a little tickle?
Yes, please. Just there. Right, I'm driving now.
Ooh.
As you can tell. What's it beeping for?
I think Harry's leaned on the seat and it now
thinks
that there's an occupier.
I slid fully onto the seat next to me.
So, I will talk about the performance of the EV9 because we've got 378 horsepower.
Raging horses.
Yes, 700... I'm not looking where I'm going, apparently.
Please look where you're
700 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot, and that means 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, which is the same as your Audi TT.
It is indeed, and yet we're in a car that weighs 2.7 tons
carries 7 people and their luggage,
and is 5 and a little bit meters long and over 2 meters wide, which is slightly terrifying. That a car that is this size will just comfortably do that speed.
Yes. Do you know what this drives like?
What?
A car.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the
best
sense, because it doesn't feel like a massive SUV.
No. It disguises its weight and size incredibly well, I think.
Very quiet, very comfortable. These seats are very nice.
I also thought even under braking it did, because we've seen it before with some EVs where they disguise it surprisingly well until you have to hit the brakes, and then it's suddenly like,
Mercedes-Benz.
oh wow, this weighs a lot.
Yeah.
But the braking feel, I think, is pretty positive.
No, yeah.
What you actually think in a Mercedes-Benz is, oh no, they forgot to put the brakes on.
Yeah. Also, while we're speaking of brakes, I've got paddles here, so I can up me regen to level 3, and then if I take my foot off, recouping loads. And because this is a Hyundai Kia product, I'm not looking where I'm going. If you press and hold the paddle, it goes to max,
and it'll
come to a complete stop, but only when you're holding that paddle down.
Punch it, Chewy.
Hang on.
Oh gosh,
My face hurts.
Oh,
That's good.
it is good. Anyway,
oh god.
Rob's found a bit of dynamic road.
well, it's a very small piece of dynamic road. Oh, the brakes are very good, actually.
Aren't
Very
they? The pedal feel is really good.
Yes.
That's often something that manufacturers struggle with, especially where you've got a large amount of regen available. Some really don't get the transition between regen and friction brakes right, but Kia have here. They've nailed it, I'd say. Because your brake feels really positive, it's quite strong.
And that's the speed limit.
That's good. That is very good, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. One thing we haven't mentioned, price. This is the cheapest
All-wheel drive.
all-wheel drive seven-seater
Electric SUV.
Yes.
And
I mean, when we're talking about this car in this class size segment, we're comparing it with cars that are basically £100,000.
Yes.
And
have
this-
5 seats.
Yeah.
this model that we are in today is on the road for £73,275.
Which is not an insignificant amount of money. It's just a lot less than all of its rivals currently. Pedal on the right.
With a big plus on it.
Lovely.
That is wonderful.
It's very quick.
But it's smooth.
Yes.
It doesn't even punch you unless you go from a very dead stop. When you're already moving, it's this lovely surge of power.
Visibility is actually quite good all round.
Those wing mirrors are brilliant, aren't they?
Big old mirrors.
It's so comfortable, it's so capable. The interior's brilliant, the tech's fantastic, and it comes in
Blue.
it comes in a good chunk cheaper than those closest rivals.
Yes.
Jasper, baby, save something for the conclusion.
Well, that's a nice little segue into us pulling over and concluding.
Right then, lads. Kia EV9. Good, bad or ugly?
One of those things.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Very good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Extremely well rounded. Basically, if you want a full-size family electric car,
Just buy this. Just buy it.
can't think of one that's better. So yes, it's a thumbs up from Buckle Up.
Oh dear.
There's your conclusion. But now what you can do is you can scroll down to the description and find all of our social medias. We all have them. X's and Facebooks and the like. There's also 2 ways you can support the channel. So we've got merchandise. I'm wearing some now. And we also have channel memberships where you can join up for a monthly fee and support us that way. Anything you do is greatly appreciated. Please do one or all of those things. Like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.